Welcome in, everybody, to another MLS Monday by Scarves and Spikes. Tyler and Sydney here with y'all as we are 3 match days technically into the post-World Cup break. It is
It's,
a busy, busy time.
it's All-Star Week, too.
It is indeed
Skills
All-Star
competition
Week.
going on Tuesday, and then the All-Star game on Wednesday, without Messi, of course. I
Of
mean,
course
it's
not,
like a tradition.
which we're going to dive into. We have a whole segment on the All-Star game
Yeah.
and what it is here in the United States, because it is a very American thing, right? Coming off the back of a World Cup in the United States and Canada and Mexico, you kind of hope that the All-Star game shines in ways that maybe it hasn't in the past, but
Without Messi.
we'll get to that. We have plenty of stars coming in though that are doing things, some that are taking a little bit of time to get their wheels going under them, some that are picking back up, and some teams that don't have stars that are just playing really well, and a team that spends a lot of money that's sitting at the bottom of the table.
Who has a lot of stars and is playing really well, or does have a lot of stars and is playing really well?
Well, there's a couple. Miami would be one. Los Angeles FC would be another.
Doesn't have stars or do have stars? You said.
Well, I'm
Teams
not
that don't have
talking
stars
about
do,
stars over the crest. I'm talking about stars like player stars.
I know.
But here's
know
the
what you
thing.
meant.
This list keeps growing like week in and week out, right? Well, that's what it feels like. Because you've had, obviously, we have the Messis. We have Son, who came in last year. You have Mueller up in Vancouver, right? Big names that all were within the past calendar year. And now you're getting in guys like Lewandowski. You're getting in Antoine Griezmann. You're getting in a handful of others. You've got rumors of the aforementioned team in the bottom of the table with Darwin Nunez. So it's kind of neat. It's kind of a neat place to be for the league because these are not all fully, retirement league type players. But they still have to come here and perform. And
Right.
some of them are not. So we'll get into all that. But Sydney, how are you? How are you doing?
Good. We have some breaking news. Well, not exactly breaking news. I mean, it came out a couple of days ago, this article from ESPN about the future of MLS and can it capitalize on the World Cup wave. Did you read that, by the way?
I have not read that yet.
Can MLS capitalize?
I've glossed over it, but I've not sat down and written the whole thing.
Tyler, we could be getting a cap and floor system in MLS soon if owners have their way.
Yeah. I mean, we actually talked about this. I don't know. It's been a couple of months now. But we always get into this discussion, right? You talk about teams that want to spend money and then teams that kind of don't. Kansas City. No, they have discovery rights from everybody.
Well, I have to push back, by the way, on Kansas City because they are spending, $22 million on
They
a player.
are now. But that's one time, though. Finally. Point stands, though. You need clubs in this league to spend the money to elevate everybody, right? It's the rising tide raises all ships type situation. Whatever teams aren't really spending money, traditionally they've needed to rely on their academy to get them through, or through some version of a pipeline, and that's getting tougher as the years go by, and you have Miami coming in hiring, and bringing in everybody and their cousin. So this is if this works, if this comes to fruition, it makes it so that some of these lower spenders have to go and get out and try to find some talent.
Yeah, but what if they spend a lot of money, Tyler, and the team still don't succeed? I mean,
you have to look at last place like Atlanta United is right now.
Well, I asked because this isn't as cut and dry as I feel some may make it out to be. You mentioned Atlanta United, who has spent millions upon millions of dollars with an intent to improve its team, but it's not working. I feel like you have a better chance of winning if you spend money. That's true, but that's not always the case. If you spend money, that doesn't automatically mean you have a good team. Obviously mentioned Atlanta United. If you don't spend a lot of money, that doesn't automatically mean you have a bad team. You look at San Jose, who's done tremendous. But I guess going back to your point about the academy, another reason that's becoming harder is because you have international teams looking at your players and saying, "Hey, I would love to have him on my team." Kevin Sullivan, for example, already signed to Man City. He'll go there when he's 18, right? So you have that to deal with. It has to be a top to bottom situation here. You have to invest in your clubs from top to bottom, not just spend money, but make it worth make it where your academy players could come in and legitimately compete for minutes, not just to be hood ornaments or whatever, but contribute to your team. So it's not as, again, cut and dry as, hey, spend X amount of money, you're going to be good. And if you don't spend X amount of money, you're going to be bad. I feel like that's the conversation that these owners are having in the boardrooms. And this CBA is coming up at the end of 2027, right? I think that's the case. So
yeah, it's coming up soon.
Yeah, it's coming up soon. But those are the discussions I'm sure are being had.
Yeah.
Yes. What do you see it?
Well, let me ask you this. And Harry throwing out Montreal as one of the teams that it doesn't spend typically.
Yeah.
And we'll get to Salah. We'll get to Mo Salah in a little bit. I promise, Harry. I'll ask you this: what is the downside of it? And maybe take this from two different perspectives. What is the downside to the league if they make this happen? And then what is the downside to individual clubs that are then forced to spend money that maybe they don't want to spend?
You got super teams. Like you have well-resourced owners,
though, right?
Yeah, you have the cap, but you have it where, I mean, some owners are going to spend as close to the floor as they can, right? Just so they can say, hey, we're staying within the bounds of what MLS has told us. We have to spend X amount of money. So owners will spend right up to the cap, and they're more ambitious. They want to win. I feel some owners will look to circumvent that. And there's definitely the pros and cons of it. And this article from ESPN saying owners have been discussing the merits of super teams, and that's okay, I guess. But then if you have like 3 or 4 teams who are up here spending millions and millions of dollars, and then less ambitious owners or owners less willing to open their pocketbook, spending as close to the floor as possible, you have like what you have to an extent in the big 5 leagues. You have like Bayern Munich's coming up and just having a league year after year, which is fun for Bayern Munich fans, not so much for, let's say, Borussia Dortmund or whatever team is in Bundesliga. It's like an arms race. You always have to chase a team. And
well, I guess my question though is how is that different than now? I mean, like, because you still have the cap, so you can't go and within certain rules, DPs and all that. But like, if you're just making every team go from spending I'll just throw a number out there, $5 million, on salary, and bumping that up to you have to pay 10 mil. How does that hurt the league? Now, it might hurt some owners' pocketbooks for sure because they don't want to do it. But if you're forcing it to happen, how does that hurt the league? Because it's inevitably it's going to be one of these teams that typically don't spend, that the first moment they are required to spend money, they're going to hit a gold mine with somebody that they wouldn't have otherwise went after because they would have been too expensive, quote unquote.
But why do they need to be required to spend it in the first place? Why not just spend it right now? Like right now, there's nothing keeping MLS teams from spending X amount of money. I think the article said Inter Miami's payroll is $45 million or something like that. I mean, nothing's stopping these owners. It's just they don't care. And I think it's going to really back some owners to the corner. They're going to have to make some decisions. Hey, am I really in it to make money? Am I really in it to, be competitive in this league, or is this just a line out on my tax sheets every single year?
But that's where that's my thing. That's my argument. Like, how is that a bad thing for the league?
I mean, parity too. You have to look at, parity. And what if it doesn't pan out? What if you do spend a lot of money and you're left holding the bag? So I think parity is another situation you need to look at, because again, you have these owners, just because there's a salary floor, that doesn't mean they're going to spend more than what the floor is, right? They're going to spend as close to the floor as possible because they're cheap. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think if as I'm kind of thinking through this in my head, the one place that you could look at it possibly as a negative would be there is the real risk. Ariel, what's up in the chat? There is the real risk that you might have an owner or two that don't want to spend that extra penny, where they need to comply or to get to that point, or they do in the beginning and it's just not working out for them. And so now suddenly they're spending double what they were every year, whatever the math turns up to. And then yes, you run the risk of what if you end up with a situation where the owner's like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like I'm blowing through money that I don't have or I don't want to spend. And so now we've got to do something with the team. That's where I think, and no, I think Colonel in the chat saying like about to back into an argument about pro rail. No, I don't think so. I think ultimately this could turn into an argument about like, do you lose a team or two, or does a team or two get moved, or are there like big ownership changes with teams? And that could be bad or it could be good, right? I mean, but I think if you end up with teams and owners that actually want to spend the money overall, I think that's a good thing.
Let me say this though, and then we could probably turn the page. What's going to happen to that salary cap though, if it's in place, let's say in the next CBA? What's going to happen 5 years from now when rights fees go up, expansion fees go up, theoretically? You maybe get some competition for the USL Championship. What's going to happen to that salary cap? It's going to go up, right? It's going to keep going up. As that cap goes up, that floor is going to go up. It's going to happen every few years. And some owners, to your point, are going to say, you know what? Why am I paying? So, I mean, you look at baseball, the CBA, they don't have a cap, obviously, but, there's a luxury tax. You spend X amount of money, more than X amount of money, you have to pay a luxury tax. Some owners can pay that. It's like they can wipe their rear ends with it. Some don't.
Would be nice.
And so, I mean, this is definitely fluid topic. They're saying that this could be in place by end of year potentially, but again, the CBA is coming up due at the end of 2027. So I imagine that's going to be another big conversation going on between owners saying, is it worth it? What else do we need to do to make sure that, hey, if I'm for the salary cap and floor, I need to make sure it's a benefit to me, not just to me, but ownership, because like you said, rising tide floats all boats, and it's not worth, I would say, 5 big spenders and 25, not big spenders, but not as big spenders, because you run the risk of having like 5 super teams, like a Dodgers every year. So, or I don't know, you see where I'm coming from.
For sure. No, and I think to that point, and then we'll wrap it up here and move on to the All-Star game.
Yeah.
The onus then falls back on Major League Soccer to, if this happens, you have to start heavily investing even more in growing the game here. Now, I know that's some that would be like, well, duh, like that's what the MLS has done. And others who tend to be very weary of saying anything good about Major League Soccer would say they've had 25 years to do it. They haven't done it yet. Or 30 years.
Or 30.
Yeah. And so I bring that up because I look at the World Cup, and we had this conversation last week on this show about like, did MLS take advantage of the World Cup? And I don't feel like they did. I don't feel like they really, really grabbed the attention they needed to. Now you've had some lingering moments from, the sheer like emotion and popularity that the World Cup brought, but I feel like you could have done more as a league to really grasp these fans that are just looking for somewhere to go continue watching the game that they might have fallen in love with.
Right.
So yeah, there should be more there. Now, if you're talking about doing this and you're talking about making it so that everybody has to spend more money, you have to back that up by helping put butts in seats and develop a culture more than just a product. You have to help develop the culture of soccer in this country. whether you love them or hate them, Major League Soccer is in the main position to affect soccer change in this country. They have to work with U.S. Soccer to make that cultural change. And it's not going to be overnight, but it has to start happening yesterday. So I know that's kind of a weird tangent to get off on, but I feel like it does tie into this because you're talking about spending more money. That can and probably will cause prices in some things to go up. One thing,
this is the last thing we want to hear in the age of inflation.
For sure. It won't cause the price of a hot dog to go up at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which is good. But it's just, these things, there are levels to this. It's not just one decision. There are many, many things that need to happen. So it is intriguing, though. I'm curious to see where it goes. That being said, that is in the future, far away. In the near future, we have, and you will be at, in Charlotte, the MLS All-Star Game. Tell us about it. And then I have a question for you.
Well, you can go over your question.
What's your question? How can MLS, how can Major League Soccer, talking about growing the game and the culture, get its stars to participate?
Why do you ask that, Tyler?
The All-Star Game. This is the second year in a row. Now, granted, and I will preface by saying the individual does have a much more valid reason than he did last year. But this is the second year in a row Messi will not participate in the All-Star Game. The All-Star Game, by definition, is the game where your stars of the league who have shown that they are talented go to display their skills on a national, some would argue international because of Apple TV platform. The greatest player in the world who is in the league for the second year in a row will not be participating. How can you encourage this to catch on amongst some of the international stars that are coming to this league?
Well, I mean, you have an international star playing in Mueller. Mueller's going to play. Who else is going to play? Son's going to play. I just feel like, again, Messi feels like he deserves better treatment than anybody else in the league because how many times has he, Tyler, been part of a post-match scrum in MLS after Inter Miami match? Every single injury, none. I mean, every single injury he does, this is a larger point. Every single interview he does is not choreographed, but planned. It's PR behind it and all of that. I mean, he does sit downs with national media. He'll do sit downs with, MLS, soccer.com, MLS YouTube, I guess.
Occasionally, even that's
occasionally. Yeah. I mean, he doesn't do not he. I don't want to say he. His people don't do enough to put him out there and make him relatable to the average fan, I think. I mean, he has this godlike aura around him. And listen, in Argentina, he's like a god. He's like a deity down there.
He's like a god in many parts of this world.
No, exactly. And I feel like his people feed into that, in that he gets special treatment. Oh, you don't want to play the All-Star game? You don't have to. Go ahead and you're suspended for a day. That's fine.
We'll take your little spanking, your little slap on the wrist, and move on.
Yeah, exactly. And this year, like you said, he's there's the World Cup, and I understand. I mean, you have that to recover from. But obviously, Musa, he was in the World Cup for Croatia, but they didn't get as deep a run as Argentina did, of course. Sebastian Berhalter was going to be in it. He got transferred to Borough, so he's been replaced. So you have some stars that are in it. I will say, Gozo, another young star in MLS, Henny Mukhtar, one of the top players in MLS. So you'll have stars in the game. That being said, if you bring in the next global superstar, whoever that might be, let's say like 15, 20 years from now, what if Yamal comes to MLS? What if, a player like that comes into the league? How do you make it worth his while to play in this game? But again, Tyler, it's just Messi gets to do what Messi wants. Messi doesn't want to do a post-match interview. That's fine. Messi doesn't have to do it. Messi doesn't want to play the All-Star game. That's fine. Messi doesn't have to play the All-Star game. It's just this preferential treatment that, the average fan won't say anything about it, but fans who are deeply invested in MLS, like us, who cover this league day in day out say, "What's going on? You know, why does he get off on days that other players don't?" You know, and again, I understand why this is different because of the World Cup, but still, I mean, if they didn't make a deeper run, if they went out of the group stage, I don't think he'd play in the All-Star game.
I don't think he would have played
you?
regardless. I don't.
Yeah.
And I think like that's definitely the gist of it, right? Like he didn't play last year just because. And yeah,
Yeah.
like you can make an excuse as to, oh, he was doing this or doing that. Like you can make an excuse for sure. So is everybody else, right? Like some of these West Coast guys are having to make the flight out here in the middle of the week to do this, to be a part of it.
Yeah.
But it's because it's a thing that the league that they play for does, whether you like it or not. Now, I think, and we'll probably never know, what kind of contract type situation conversations had to happen to even get Messi to this league in the first place. It would not shock me if somewhere there was a little handshake that said, hey, man, he'll come, but we're going to agree to what we want to agree to, regardless of the rules in MLS about post-match interviews, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
Cool, whatever. But from a broader standpoint, you have to make the All-Star game also more intriguing to the fan. And I think when the fan is more locked in to the All-Star game, there's more excitement about it, then that naturally makes some of these stars want to be a part of it, because if they're coming here, it's getting to the point now with Major League Soccer where if they're coming here, they want to be in some way a part of the culture of Major League Soccer to a degree. I'm not saying everybody. And it is very much an American thing. So that being said, you have to make it a tasty product, and it's a cool concept. I'm not going to sit here and dog on it. I like a good All-Star game. But the hype.
Do you really?
What's that?
Do you really?
No, I like a good All-Star game.
Well, I mean, I'm talking like in the Pro Bowl. Nobody cares about the Pro Bowl or MLB All-Star game. I'm giving you a hard time.
It's like growing up, though, I always remembered like the NBA All-Star game. I enjoyed even the MLB one, and especially actually back in the day, I really liked the Pro Bowl. I think the timing of the Pro Bowl is dumb. That's a different topic. But this is one of those situations where, like, if you can increase the fan hype around it naturally, and not make it so much of like a state sponsored type, hey, the All-Star game's coming up, like look at us, this is what we have going on, then I think it's naturally going to bring in the player interest along with it. Right now, it just kind of seems like an afterthought for the players. It kind of seems like a moment that you just pop in and you show off a little bit and you have a little fun for a little pickup game, and then you go on back to business. And yeah, I mean, I guess in a way that describes every All-Star game.
Yeah.
But the fans are not like super, super locked in on it, right? So I think there's some things that you just naturally have to adjust with it. And I'll tell you right now, I'll give MLS a free one. This one is on the house. If you want us to do it, let us know, Major League Soccer. We'll make it happen. You give us the resources, we will make this happen. Major League Soccer, for everything that's been going on with the writers, with the AI, with some of the stuff being toned down, one place that they could really invest time and money would be in making these stars more human, more human to the natural, like, North American audience. And what I mean by that is go and have high quality interviews. I look at some of the ones in like La Liga, Premier League, places like that. They'll pull these players, of course, out of a very busy schedule and pull them, to their kitchen and say, like, hey, we're going to do this interview while we create a food from your country. And we talk about how you grew up. It's not just sitting in a chair and doing what we're doing and having a conversation. You're learning about this guy. You're learning more than just the soccer side of things. You're learning who this person is as a person, and it makes them more likable. Atlanta United was great at doing this kind of content in the first couple of years, and then it's kind of dropped off a little bit. Now they're getting there, but every team in the league has their own version of it. Major League Soccer as a league needs to put money and time into that to really make these stars. You know how much you could get out of Son Heung-min, especially from
Right.
the Korean side in Los
Right.
Angeles,
Yeah.
doing interviews? Like, you would get so much content out of that, and people would be excited to see him go play an All-Star game.
Yeah. But I'll just add this real quick. I feel like that's been a reckoning that every league has had. Going back to the Pro Bowl, they've had to change it up to the Pro Bowl games scenario. That's mainly to prevent injuries, but part of it is to attract fan engagement and more eyes to the product because it's just a glorified scrimmage at one point. So I feel like they've had to work with that MLB, LA All-Star game. I think 20 years ago, they made it so the winner gets home field in the World Series. NBA has had to kind of tweak things with its product. NHL has had to kind of tweak things as well. They have a Four Nations Showdown that they do. That's not the name of it, but the Four Nations, which was tremendously successful. Four Nations Face Off, and they're looking at doing it again in lieu of the All-Star game in MLS and sorry, NHL in a few years' time. So I don't know. Does it look like something like that? I'm not sure, but yeah, to your point, what can MLS do not only to encourage its players to get in front of the camera, but encourage them to play, in the All-Star game or these mid-season exhibitions, if you will. So, I mean, the free kind of advice there. I don't know if MLS will take it, but
it's there.
You're offering your service for free.
But yeah, it's one of those things where, man, you just have to do something more organic than try to hype it up.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
it's going to take work. So we'll see. I don't see Messi playing in it. Maybe next year. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
speaking of stars,
we have spent the first half hour fixing everything about Major League Soccer. Let's talk about Major League Soccer.
Yeah.
We have a handful of games to talk about. And as you were alluding to, and I at the beginning of the show, we have a handful of new ones. One of those is Robert Lewandowski. Robert Lewandowski, he had his debut midweek and then came on against New York City with the Chicago Fire in the 45th minute. Obviously, a quick turnaround. Dude's just getting to the league, so he only got a 45-minute run out. Had an XG in that game against New York City of 0.45, which is pretty solid, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But yet to actually get the number that counts.
Yeah. I feel like there are larger issues, though, with the Fire outside of Lewandowski. And Makazi is injured for a while. Kuipers is gone. So
off to Monterrey.
Monterrey, yeah. So that's a bigger discussion. What does Gary Berhalter do to help? Well, he brought in Lewandowski. So that in and of itself is a big move. But with Makazi injured, who's one of the best center backs in MLS, Lewandowski, I mean, it's early. I'm not ready to. And I know you're not, but I'm not ready to make an indictment on him either way. But you brought him in to make an impact right away. And that Griezmann in here in a little bit, but it takes some players different times to adjust to MLS. And with Lewandowski, given this age, I mean, he's going to be a little bit longer, right, to adjust at 38 years old. So, or 37 years old, he'll be 38 in August. So, what can he do to help this team? How much? Look, he had a successful run, even at 37, 36, 37 with Bayern Munich. Yeah, no, absolutely. But does that translate to MLS?
It will
the same way, especially with some of the parity that exists in MLS that doesn't really exist in Bundesliga, I guess, in the way. But you're confident it will, though. You said.
Yeah, no, it will. I'm very confident that Lewandowski will settle in. I mean, he's done it everywhere. I mean, not that he's been to a ton of places, but like he's been very consistent, to say the least, for his entire career. So he'll be fine. I think from this one, it's an encouraging stat. And y'all know me. Like when it comes to stats, that's half the battle for me. The eye test is the other. You watch the games, and it's vintage Lewandowski. Like, he's doing everything he's always done. It just hadn't hit the back of the net yet. But then you look at the stats, and that backs it up. In 45 minutes, he had 0.45 XG. XG is a funny stat, but I think in this case, it does tell the story. He's getting into the spots that he needs to be in. He's putting in the work. If you look at his heat map, and had I thought about it, I would have prepared it. We could have showed it, but like, he's everywhere. He's all over the place. So like, that's what you want to see, but the final product hasn't quite been there yet. That to me is the definition of a guy who just needs a little bit of time to kind of settle in. And admittedly, any player coming in right now, you're going to get, as you alluded to earlier, the Antoine Griezmanns who have come in and just lit it on fire. He also had, I think, a little bit more time. And also the dude like basically lived in the United States. It feels like he loves Orlando for a long time leading up to this. So some people just get to that culture better. Lewandowski's going to be fine. He's going to work out. I have no doubt. And it's not like they've looked like a poor team. They've just been on the bad side of a couple of matches.
Yeah, and again, I feel like they have maybe some more issues to talk about than Lewandowski, and what does Greg Berhalter do to sort of solve those issues? Harry's saying in the chat, Griezmann can create his own chances. Lewandowski needs teammates to get the ball to him on time and in place. So how does Philip Zinkernagel play into things? What does that chemistry look like between them? So like it sounds like he's getting into the right place at the right time. It's just a chance. It's just a matter of taking those chances when they come. So.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing. Like, and Harry's comment there, I think it's like a perfect segue, because I just used the XG stat.
Yeah.
But then you look at Antoine Griezmann, who has now got Orlando involved in the Griezmann effect. Yeah. And he comes in, scores a goal in the first game, did not score. Yeah, banger. But then did not score against league leaders Nashville, but did win the game and kind of put a Nashville side that hasn't fully been where they want to be after the World Cup back to earth, I think. So in that game, Antoine Griezmann played the full 90. His XG was 0.13.
Wow.
So you would think if you're just a stat guy, you'd be like, well, that sucks. How did he affect the game compared to Robert Lewandowski with Chicago?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I always say it's not just about stats. You got to watch the game. You got to look at the eye test. Like this dude, and he was praised by his teammates. If you look at Orlando media, shout out to the mainland down in Orlando, the team. His teammates are just like, man, this dude works. This dude is like nonstop energy. He's just moving. He's putting in the extra work. He's elevating everybody around him. You look at his heat map, and the dude is all over the place. He's in places on the pitch. I'm like, why are you even over there? What are you doing? So he didn't put the ball in the back of the net, but he did the work to allow for somebody else to do that. So he might be rapidly going down as the best move Orlando has ever made. And I know that's like two games in, but
Kaká. I mean, don't forget about Kaká.
I mean, that was a big one, but was it effective?
Yeah, he was effective.
You think, I mean, for the team though.
For Orlando,
didn't do anything when he was here.
Well, the team itself, I mean, it wasn't great. When he was
player.
Here, but
I'm not trying to knock that.
Right.
But I think while Antoine Griezmann is here for Orlando, they come away with some other piece of silverware. I don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Man, and it pains me to say this as a primarily Atlanta United podcast. But I think he takes the roster that was already pretty good, but was struggling to like meet expectations. I think he turns them into what they need to be.
Yeah. Calm down.
I know. I'm like slapping the laptops over here.
And you talked about Nashville just briefly. Just haven't been the same since the break. I mean, they barely got past Atlanta.
You said Kaká. I think you meant Nani.
or Nani.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Harry
Um,
Collins. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, you got past you mentioned Nashville briefly. Nashville barely got past Atlanta, barely got past Montreal, and now they lost to Orlando. I'm a little I don't want to say I'm worried about them because still a terrific team, but they've not been the same since they've come out of the break. Um, not getting the chances that we're used to seeing them get. They just have seemed a little rusty, and I think they'll get out of it. I mean, what do you think? What have you seen from them?
I mean, yeah, it's not like they've come out and totally done a 180.
Right.
They're not winning games that they would be winning before. And that feels like on the surface, like that's just like you said, rust. But
Yeah.
but um I said, and I've said it basically every show that we've done for MLS Monday, that the World Cup break really could change up the standings. Do I think Nashville's suddenly going to drop to the bottom? Not even a little bit. I think
No.
Nashville comfortably makes it into the playoffs and
Yeah.
probably does really well. I wonder if it broke their momentum.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
don't know that they remain at the top. And especially with other teams making the moves that they're making. Whereas Nashville has kind of settled into what was working and they haven't really done a lot. I wonder if they can get back to where they want to be, because when their DPs are working together, they're honestly one of the most dangerous trios. Well, I say trios, dangerous attacks in the
Mhm.
league. It really hasn't connected with them since the World Cup, though.
Which asks begs the question, why did MLS instead of pausing the season, why did he just start a new season? But I mean, that's a whole another discussion. I don't think we have time to really get into that.
Would have been a
But
perfect time, you
I
know.
mean, yeah, it
We're
would
getting
have,
there, just maybe like 8 months too late.
yeah. But I mean, it's been a little surprising. I mean, if I feel like it would have had an effect on any team, but I feel like it's affected Nashville because Surge. I mean, he hadn't played a whole lot before the break due to injury. Now he's getting back in the team. He hasn't really had a chance to. I feel like get his legs underneath it. I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah,
I'm not too
they'll be
worried
fine.
about them.
I'm not convinced that they win the Shield necessarily. I mean, they have a chance to, for sure. But I just think that big X factor, that big variable is always, what does the summer transfer window bring? And if you're a team that's already in that conversation of the Shield and you're making moves to make your team better, then I think you might end up surpassing a team like Nashville.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see that. Definitely see
So
that.
that was those are the two, right, the two most recent stars. I feel like we're throwing that word
Yeah.
around a lot nowadays. But those were your two big summer transfer moves so far, the World Cup transfers anyway. Down in Miami, who we talk about often because of their star power, you have one Bertarame who had a very
Scary.
scary moment
Yeah.
this weekend. And, you know, when it first happened, seeing it, I was like, oh, that wasn't great. But like, I actually didn't think in real time it looked terrible until then all of a sudden it looked like he was like having a seizure.
Yeah.
Very scary. You know, immediately everybody, Montreal players included, they're all waving, you know, for the physio staff to come out and check him out. Ambulance comes on to the pitch like it's Madden 98 and you know, loads him up and drives off. And he's in the hospital for what, a day and a half?
Yeah, he got discharged. Fortunately, he was able to make it back to Miami or South Florida. Okay, but yeah, there was a penalty on the play, and Suarez scored and held up his shirt in tribute. But I mean, it's always here to see that. Fortunately, he's okay. We don't know obviously what the prognosis is for his return, but the most important part is he's okay per Guillermo Hoyos and Inter Miami itself. So good news out of that, but just scary, very scary in the moment, just very worrying.
Yeah,
For Toronto.
yeah. It was kind of wild. I mean, it was one of those where you throw the sport out the window for a second. You just say, "Man, I
Yeah,
hope dude's okay." And thankfully, yeah, like you said, he is. Everything worked out, got back home. But it's a scary moment. Especially you involve a head injury, man. You never know. You never know.
yeah,
So thankfully, he's good. From the actual soccer side of things, they're still winning games
without
without
Messi.
Messi. Messi is, as of like I think yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, was down in like Rosario in Buenos Aires and watching local games down there. And it's like, I mean, I'm going to put my human hat on for a minute and say, dude, you just got done playing a very packed World Cup all the way to the final.
Yeah,
You kind of deserve a vacation. I get that. Not mad at that. Not mad at that. When you combine the stuff we talked about earlier with the All-Star game, not a great look, but like I get it. You deserve a vacation.
At least it's supporting local soccer, though.
100%. Like, that's cool, and you're back in your home country. You're kind of licking your wounds a little bit, probably doing a little bit of PR to smooth over some things about Argentina and the World Cup.
Yeah.
So I'm not mad at that. But regardless, it doesn't matter why he's gone. He's gone, and Miami are finding a way anyway.
You know who hasn't found a way, though, is Seattle. My goodness, they are in a – this is their longest losing streak. They lost to Philly 1-0. And by the way, Philly, back-to-back wins for the first time all season long. So maybe they're getting things together. I don't know.
Which also bumped them out of the wooden spoon spot and allowed another team to take its place.
Yeah. Atlanta United. Yeah. But I feel like the story is more Seattle, right, Tyler? Because this is their longest losing streak since 2015, when they also lost 5 matches in a row. They've never lost 6 in a row. It's weird talking about Seattle as big a club as they are in MLS, struggling to the extent that they are. And the front office is just quickly losing faith. There's a sentiment that ever since Garth Lagerwey went to Atlanta, ever since Chris Henderson went to Miami, this club hasn't been the same. They have Portland coming up on Saturday, sort of a revenge match after just getting crushed by the Timbers a few weeks ago, which was one of the worst losses, or the worst loss in club history against the Timbers in any level, including the NASL. They're really in scramble mode at this point, and they need something. I think we talked about them. Didn't we talk about them last time, Tyler, when they lost 4 in a row? I remember talking about them, right?
Yes, Sounders. And getting absolutely whooped in the process. That was
no.
Was it 4-1?
Yeah, but I guess my point is when you look at the players that you have, Ferreira hasn't done anything. Well, he has 2 goals, 5 assists, which is
he's not done anything.
Yeah,
he's not done anything.
You need more than 2 goals and 5 assists from him. Jordan Morris struggle. He's on a DP contract. Paul Rothrock's your leading scorer, 5 goals. But Roldan, 3-2. Rusnak, 3 and 5. You're not getting the production that you need. Andrew Thomas is in just difficult form at this point in time. It's just not the same old Sounders that we have come to know and love in the past. This is a team that is completely lost, just struggling all kinds of ways. The loss to the Timbers a few weeks ago, like we just mentioned, was just icing on the cake. They followed up with a 3-1 against Austin on the road, and then this loss to Philly. So I don't know. It's just, I'm not saying fire Smetzer or anything like that, but I mean there has to be some discussions being had in that front office about what to do to improve this team, Tyler.
Yeah, it's been a massive struggle. And here's the thing. Normally I would say as good of a team as you've had for so many years in Seattle, the head coach, in this case Schmetzer, deserves plenty of time. But
yeah,
it's not like they just won MLS Cup and then fell off the face of the earth. No. They've not looked great over the past couple of seasons. Like, And I say that funny
by their standards.
by their standards. I mean, they won the Champions Cup a few years ago, which is wild to think. But that's soccer, man. That's especially in Major League Soccer where we talk about parity. Like things can change very quickly for a team, good or bad. We talk about Philly, the team that beat them here. Like they just won the Supporter Shield and they're scrounging to get out of the
Yeah.
bottom of the well. That's the parity we talk about. So for Seattle to be where they're at now, I don't think anybody needs to be guaranteed to stay, Brian Schmetzer included. I look at it like a Peter Vermees situation. Peter Vermees was there for
Forever.
I mean, since the Civil War, like he's been there forever. They finally decided to move on from him. But the difference I think that you would have in a Seattle and like a Sporting Kansas City with Peter Vermees situation is Seattle will, whether it's a great decisions or not, they're going to have a plan. Sporting Kansas City, you're finding out after the fact that like they just basically haven't had a scouting department for a long time. They weren't ready for when Peter Vermees left because Peter Vermees was Sporting Kansas City for so long. The Sounders, they've got, in my opinion, a better organization behind everything. So if they have to move on from the coach, I don't think that's a terrible move because the roster is not bad. The roster has talent on it, but Schmetzer's not getting everything out of it. I think they're playing too conservative. I mean, you look at, again, eye test and stats, but you look at their stats in this game against Philly, you know what their expected goals was on set pieces?
What was it?
And I bring this stat up because when you're a team that's struggling, the one thing you should always try to push for and rely on is set pieces because they can be the great equalizer, right? You don't have an attacking threat, but you put a ball in the air into a box and let somebody go for it. You never know what's going to happen. Their expected goals on set pieces in this game was 0.02.
Wow.
That's awful.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that you're putting a ball up into a group of like 16 dudes and hoping somebody just is able to get a hair on it and point it towards goal, and all you can get out of that is 2/100ths of a goal chance.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But it's just bad. And listen, we're Atlanta United. We go Atlanta United. We don't have room to talk. I feel like we'd kill it
Monday. All right.
We'd kill to have the success that the Sounders have had in the past few years. I'll say that. But something has to change. Something really has to change. I don't know if it's going to be coaching because they just extended Schmetzer, right? A few years, or not a few years ago.
I don't know what his contract situation looks like.
Or 2024, October 2024, they extended him. I don't know. I don't. Maybe you need to look at that. The front office hasn't done itself any favors, but something has to change in Seattle. They're still in playoff places, but at this rate, it's not going to last. Maybe they beat Portland to correct course for now, but I think it's deeper than just one win kind of getting you off the schneid here. This is something that is, I don't say it's deep seated, but it's a personnel issue. I mean, you need some new players, some new blood in there to get things going before the season kind of slips away from you even more. Well, they're at 8th, 3 points up on Portland and LA for the 8th playoff spot in the Eastern or the Western Conference. Should say.
Yeah, I mean, you need something that's got a little bit of fire behind it. Seattle's always been that team that does good as an MLS team. Like they in all honesty, I think they exemplify what MLS could be when it's ran almost perfectly, because they've not had the big stars, but they've had such a balanced roster that's not super flashy, but it's well done. And they've won essentially the biggest of stages. Harry bringing up Leagues Cup as well. And like I said, Champions League, when it was Champions League, not Champions Cup. You've had some big time things go on for Seattle. And of course, the multiple, MLS Cups, things like that. I think they do have the talent. And I see Harry saying, I don't think they have that much talent. I would say they have players that are massively underperforming. And I think maybe that's more what I'm looking at. Like Jesus
Yeah.
Ferreira should be doing way more than he's
Yeah.
doing. You've got veterans on that team that should be doing way more than they're doing. And you've got some up and coming somewhat young players that have kind of fallen off a little bit. So they need something to light a fire under them. And I think they've got to get into the next version of MLS.
MLS 4.0. Are you
Yeah,
saying?
I think we're getting into 4.0 at this point.
Yeah.
So that is Seattle struggling. Relatively speaking, again, they are still in playoff position, so maybe struggling is a relative term.
Well, they're struggling.
Yeah.
Let's just call it what it is.
Yes. I mean, you lose 5 games in a row?
Yeah.
Yeah, you lose 5 games in a row, you're struggling. But
yeah, LAFC is not struggling, by the way.
They're not struggling. Los Angeles Football Club just mollywopped Sporting Kansas City. Son Heung-min, I think that's the biggest thing. Is it seems like he's gotten his mojo back, and that's a. I don't know that you could say anything to make an LAFC fan happier than Son Heung-min getting his mojo back, which didn't really go away in the first place.
Yeah, I mean,
like crazy. He just went hitting the back.
Yeah, I remember some people wanted Mark Dos Santos fired earlier this season.
Man, that seat was getting crispy though.
Yeah, it was.
It was underperforming like crazy.
No, he was. But as long as our son and Bwanga are clicking, I mean, this team is going to go places. He has 10 assists, Son does, which leads MLS, I should say. This is how many goals for him. He hasn't scored, obviously, the rate that he has scored last year, but he doesn't have how many goals this year. Do you have it in front of you?
I do not.
But yeah, he's not. I don't think he scored at the rate he scored in his first year here, or last year, I should say, because he scored like crazy last season. But Bwanga is your primary goal scorer, obviously, and if you have that partnership working, this team is going to go places. You look at Vancouver; they're pretty tight with Vancouver at this point in time. LAFC is right now, so I think as those players go, so goes LAFC. Right now, he's at 3 goals, 10 assists. Son is, which is okay. But
those 3 goals literally came from the past 3 games.
Yeah, and again, that's okay because it shows that he's, I don't want to say rounding into form, but he's starting to put some goal scoring on his, or add some goal scoring to his assist making or assisting, I should say. Harry said last year he scored a goal for every game he played.
Yeah.
So it's not obviously at that point right now, but still a good player. Bwanga has 10 goals. So again, as long as those two are clicking, I'm not worried about LAFC. But Sporting Kansas City, I mean, that's not saying much if you put 4 past Sporting Kansas City in the first place.
Yeah, no disrespect. but yeah, I think
they're a bad team. So
they are. Yeah. And they just haven't quite gotten into the next version of they haven't gotten made it to MLS 3.0.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We have had our discussions about LAFC, and I said last week that they were fortunate to have placed themselves where they did as early as they did because they had that period where they weren't scoring goals, but also their defense wasn't able to keep clean sheets. So they were kind of just the one strength that they did have was falling off the face of the earth. With Son not scoring and then not being able to, snag points, it was looking kind of sketchy. And I've always used the Ferrari and Lamborghini reference with Mark Dos Santos. You had everything you needed, man. You had the key to the car. You just had to drive it off the lot, not wreck it on the way home. You didn't total it. You hit the median and scratched.
Yeah.
Well,
got
he has since gone to the body shop. He has since attended a defensive driving course, and he has since figured out how to drive maybe that Lamborghini and figured something out. It's a good place to be.
Good for him.
Right? You're getting back where you need to be, and the team looks like they're playing. It's not even just about winning. It looks like they're playing with more confidence. And I think if you're an LAFC fan, that's what you want to see. You want to see them actually playing like they're out there doing naturally what they want to do. It kind of looked like Dos Santos had come in and maybe tried to adjust things a little too much, and it made players uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I think this World
You
Cup.
don't have to.
You don't have to. You didn't have to change a thing, right? Like, forget the Ferrari reference. This thing, it's a Tesla, dude. It drives itself. Yeah. You just have to sit in the driver's seat and don't close your eyes.
Yeah.
That's all you had to do. That's all you had to do. And it ran off the road a couple times for a little bit. If he can keep it where it's at now, Son's playing with confidence, Blanca's playing with confidence, you're going to be fine.
This Western Conference race, by the way, is tight. Whitecaps are 33 points. LAFC 33 points. San Jose 33 points. LAFC, though, have played 18 matches. Vancouver 16. San Jose 17. So Vancouver have two matches in hand on LAFC. San Jose has a match in hand on LAFC. San Jose drew with the Galaxy, so they remain in the hunt. That's going to be a really good race, Tyler, coming down the stretch between those three teams, between Vancouver, LAFC, and San Jose. Salt Lake is RSL's kind of fallen off a little bit, but the West is going to come down to those three teams. So Vancouver, the question is, what can they do with Berhalter having been sent to or transferred to Burrow? San Jose, is it sustainable what they're doing in LAFC again with Son and Blanca? Can they keep things clicking the way they have over the past few matches here? So this is very intriguing, a very intriguing match or very intriguing race here between the three teams versus the Eastern Conference where it's like two teams right now.
Yeah.
Very tight.
Very tight. You look at the MLS season, and I think if you're maybe somebody who has traditionally watched Premier League or La Liga or Bundesliga or whatever, we're somewhere around Boxing Day at this point. Day after Christmas, for those that don't know. There's still a lot of room to change. But with those three teams that you're talking about sitting tied, literally, on points, a couple of games ahead and a couple of 3 points worth of games ahead. I mean, it seems like they're kind of taking off with it. You can't count out Salt Lake, I don't think. I think Salt Lake's actually a really good team. But it's pretty clear.
Not as good as the three I mentioned, though, I think. I don't know.
What's that?
Not as good as the three I just mentioned.
No, that's what I was kind of getting to. I think like those three are definitely standing out far and above the rest. And I think that gap might continue to grow. You'll have a surprise, I think, pop in there as we get closer to the end of the season.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the West. I don't know who that's going to be. But Vancouver, LAFC, San Jose, it's so intriguing to me because there are three teams with vastly different identities.
Mm-hmm.
The Whitecaps, they built a team that worked well, and they brought in one star who elevated the whole team.
Yeah.
LAFC, tendency of trying to bring in the big stars, and most of them have worked out. Most of them. San Jose, straight up legendary American coach,
mm-hmm.
who also has all the say in the transfer decisions, goes there, is given the keys to whatever car he drives, and he drives it like a G. You know, he's doing everything he's supposed to be doing. Doesn't have a star, quote unquote, on his team, and is sitting right up there with the Son Heung-mins and the Thomas Müllers of the world. And I think that's such a cool, like, triad that's going on in the West. I'm excited to see that one. To me, that's the most exciting kind of like second half of the season story that we kind of have.
One of the big matches coming up this weekend, too. The Whitecaps play LAFC in Vancouver. So that's a match that could go, I think, a long way in deciding what the Western Conference looks like. So big match coming up. You have Son and Blanca, of course, versus Mueller. He'll be, of course, fresh off Son, Blanca, and Mueller, I should say, fresh off the All-Star game, which we just talked about, by the way.
We did just talk about.
Those are the stars that are playing in the game, by the way.
Those are the big ones.
Yeah.
Let's run through the transfer rumors and news really quick. and then we'll hit y'all with the matches to watch. So there's a few, right? And I'm going to kind of go out of order with these from what we have in our notes, but it's relevant right now. Talking about Vancouver, Sebastian Berhalter in advanced talks to go to Middlesbrough.
Pretty much done.
$2 million transfer, which kind of feel like he's worth more than that. But
that's a big discussion that we don't have time for.
We don't have time for it. But I will say, I like the move for him. I hate the move for MLS in general. Kind of like the Hugo Kuipers thing. But Sebastian Berhalter, like even more so, because it's like this is a kid that I wish you had a way to lock him down for much longer, because his trajectory here this is his start, right? Like in the grand scheme of things. Love the prestige of going overseas. But man, dude, you had such a cool story going with Vancouver, being a protege under Thomas Mueller, who came over. Like, this is the type of player that Major League Soccer, I think, looking back in 20 years, would say, man, it would have been so cool if we just kept him.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So, and Harry's rightfully saying he only had 6 months left on the contract. So for what they're getting, it is high, but A and B, apples and oranges. We wish you could keep. Anything else, Ed? Anything on Berhalter before I jump to the next?
No, one? I feel like I think we just move on to the next one. I did want to jump on Salah real quick. A mystery team really reportedly today has put an offer for Salah. So I don't know if that's Atlanta United or someone has. I don't think it's Sporting Kansas City, because they just spent $22 million on their new player. So be interested to see how that turns out. Just who do you think would make that move? Who do you think would put in that offer for him? Just top of your head.
I'll answer that, and I'll also say this. SKC, for those that didn't know, had his discovery rights.
Yes.
If you don't know what discovery rights are, comment, and we'll tell you later.
We don't have time to do it.
We don't have time for it. So that's an important part of it, right? That's why we bring up SKC in the beginning at all.
Yes.
If I had to say a team that would make sense to put in an offer, and I have no knowledge of this, I would say Atlanta United.
You think it would be Atlanta?
I do. He played here in the Bins. He trained here for a short amount of time. He was in and around the city when they played here in the World Cup. I'm not saying there's a ton of ties to Atlanta, but recency bias is real. And he saw Mercedes-Benz Stadium in its prime.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a huge selling point. Any other team could be the one. Who would have guessed Chicago Fire would be pulling Robert Lewandowski?
Yeah, exactly.
But if I'm trying to rationalize things and take the Atlanta United bias out of it, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. I'm gonna say NYCFC is mine, because look at NYCFC. They're up at Etihad Park next year. They'll let to open it up with a big superstar, whether that's De Bruyne, whether that's Salah. Salah in New York. It's New York, right? So that'd be my guess. Again, like no advanced knowledge, no inside knowledge. That's Tom Boger's job, so I'm not sure about that. Harry's saying maybe a San Diego could dump Chucky Lozano. Salah could slot in. That's a good shout, but I'm going to stick with NYCFC as, I guess, the mystery team, if you will.
Those are all good, and every one of those teams could use a Mo Salah, because if we're being honest, every team would love a Mo Salah. Not every Major League Soccer team right now is in need of a Mo Salah, but those three, they are. So we'll see. Yeah. We'll see if it even ends up being Major League Soccer. Who knows?
Yeah, it probably won't be Besiktas, because it looks like that's been
definitely doesn't look like Turkey is going to happen.
Yeah.
One other reason that I also this is getting more into writing fan fiction than rationalizing things.
Mm-hmm.
I say Atlanta United is because Atlanta United is also linked to another player who, by the way, played with one Mo Salah, in the Premier League, and that is Darwin Nunez. Al Hilal is going through, I don't know, existential crisis of some sort, and Darwin Nunez was also linked to Besiktas, same as Mo Salah. We already know Atlanta United is linked to Darwin Nunez. Why not put them both back together?
Why not?
Why not?
Well, you need another DP slot. That's why
you
not.
do.
So.
You do have one of those probably coming free very soon.
Yeah.
In Latte Lath, because it seems as if he's very much on his way out. You do have 2 buyouts if you're Atlanta, but we try to avoid getting into the Atlanta conversation on this particular show because this is our MLS show. But right now, Atlanta has some of the juiciest transfer rumors in Major League Soccer. So you got to talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean, Darwin Nunez, that's a big one. Now,
yeah,
just to put it out there, like there's been nothing that's really actually linked Atlanta United to Mo Salah other than me trying to rationalize things and wishing.
Yeah.
But Darwin Nunez is very much, there is a link there. So
yeah,
we'll see kind of what happens with it. He was linked to Barcelona. Barcelona would have to basically pay him double what he is making in Saudi Arabia to get him there because they're going to tax the crap out of him.
Yep.
And that would completely destroy them within La Liga's roster rules. Besiktas, we just mentioned, that's kind of been knocked out for the most part as a rumor as well, which leaves Atlanta United as the sole survivor of the transfer rumor drama.
We'll see. We'll see. Gonna ask you a few right here. I know we have them in the notes. Furuhashi to LA Galaxy. How do you think that's going to turn out?
We go back to Atlanta United.
Formerly to Atlanta, of course. We all know the situation with that. How do you think he's going to do?
I think this could be a very a good restart for Kyogo. Kyogo had the rumor to Atlanta that fell through. Went to the championship, if I'm not mistaken.
Birmingham City, yeah.
Yeah. So what was with Celtic, that's where he was doing work. That was where he drew the attention of Atlanta. Went to Birmingham, did nothing. This is a move that it seems right. You know, it seems like he could really revitalize the dude's talented. Like he's talented.
Yeah.
For sure. So the Galaxy need it. They have gotten rid of basically, or through injury, but they've gotten rid of basically every attacking threat they have.
Yeah.
They need one.
It's not going to be like a it's going to be no Chicharito or anything like that, but I think he'll be talented. I think he'll do decently well with the Galaxy. They do need him. They really do need him. So I think he'll succeed. LA Galaxy need a lot of help to get themselves really into the thick of the playoff race, and I think he'll do a lot to help them get there.
Yeah, for sure. My other one, and this one's kind of a big one, Casemiro
made his debut.
We have not we've gone this entire show and not talked about this. We had the Bertarama news, but yeah, Casemiro made his debut. What'd you think?
I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't really watch that one, to be honest. I was locked in on Atlanta and a couple of other matches during that time, but I think how can he help elevate this team defensive midfield, because we know RDP had a few shaky moments when he came with the league, but then there's this whole tampering allegation that I assume LA Galaxy has levied against them, so that's a big cloud over Miami right now. No details from MLS about specifics. I'm sure that'll come out at some point, but yeah, I think it's another situation where, hey, do you want to play with Messi? Come on over. But I just don't know if the Galaxy, or not the Galaxy, but if Inter Miami have done that completely the right way. This would be the first time they've sort of run afoul of the MLS rules. So that's where I sit on it. Where do you land?
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly the tampering investigation is kind of again, not to belittle anything, but I feel like it's going to be a slap on the wrist. And it has to do with the aforementioned discovery rights. So again, if you don't know what discovery rights are, comment. We will tell you. That's where the tampering thing comes from. as far as how he played, I thought he was smooth. I thought he was what they should have got out of Rodrigo DePaul and haven't, honestly. I mean, I liked what I saw. It was one game. We'll see where it
Yeah.
goes, but
Yeah.
definitely played well. I liked it. So,
Yeah.
Last couple, then we'll jump to our matches to watch. We have Elias Achuri, San Diego. That is kind of the I think probably the more recent one that came out a couple of days ago. World Cup winger. I mean, he's been around the block. Was with Copenhagen, and he would be San Diego's third most expensive signing ever.
Yeah, I didn't see a whole lot to use to do a World Cup, so I don't know how much I can provide on the Churi. But
I don't want to push too much on that, like that aspect of it, because it's like, I mean, what can you take from that? Probably not a lot.
Yeah.
But you're in the World Cup, so that speaks for something.
Yeah. Alan Samaltamon for Charlotte FC. How do you think he'll
what
turn
you were
out?
saying for a second?
Alan Samaltamon, I think. I don't know. I'm not French.
Or if you say it like an American, Alan St. Maximin.
Alan St. Maximin. How do you think he'll turn out for Charlotte?
I think he'll do well with Charlotte. I think that's the profile of a player that Charlotte has honestly needed their entire existence. They haven't fully gotten it. You were kind of hoping to see him a little earlier because this rumor's been out there. This transfer has happened a while ago. But Charlotte's been kind of a middling team. They've been very consistent over the past 3 years. There's a stat out there, and I forget exactly what it is, but it's essentially like at this point in the season, over the past 3 years, they've been at exactly where they're at right now. So you got to hope this is the player that, if you're a Charlotte fan, puts you over the top, bumps you up to the next level. And I think he is that profile anyway of player.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you of course have Zaha here, and Zaha had his moments. Zaha was a hothead, to say the least. So you had to kind of calm him down. But I think once St. Maximin gets acclimated into the team, I think he'll do well for them. And he's a needed player for Charlotte. They're a good team, but they're sort of mid-table right now. I think he can. It depends on how he combines with the other DPs, right? And if he's able to do that, I think Charlotte are a much better team with him on the pitch. Just a matter of getting him acclimated, getting him into the team, or getting that visa taken care of. They play next time on Saturday. They play Chicago on the road, so maybe we'll see him against Chicago. Sure, we'll definitely see him in Leagues Cup coming up, starting on Tuesday, August 4th against Pumas. But I think once he gets into the team, once he gets acclimated, I think St. Maximin will do well for them, for Charlotte FC. Good signing to me. Good signing.
No, I agree. My biggest, I guess, variable for that is going to be how he gets along with Dean Smith.
Yeah, I think he'll get along well, though.
I think so, but obviously there are lots of differences between one Dean Smith and Alan. I'm just going to go with that name, so I'm not trying to butcher a French.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm curious kind of how that dynamic goes. Zaha, as you said, was just a very outspoken, kind of riotous individual.
Too outspoken sometimes.
Somewhat too outspoken at times.
Yeah.
But this is a dude who in France has killed it for quite some time, and I don't think will take a step backwards in Major League Soccer. So
last one about St. Maximin, Harry said he's hit or miss every other game. So can he be consistent in MLS? I think is the big question.
Yeah,
you have to consider.
Yeah, I mean, you look at his most recent games going back to France, against Nice and PSG, didn't score, played, and then 3 games in a row before that scored, and had an assist in the game before that. So, and then before that, 4 games of nothing.
Yeah. So
you got to get the good version on any given day, and the day that that version doesn't show up, then it falls on a handful of other really talented Charlotte players to keep them where they need to be. So
yeah, absolutely.
that
Matches to watch.
That is all of it. We now have the matches to watch, unsponsored at this point.
Yes,
but you could sponsor it.
We're working on it.
Yes. What is your match to watch for this weekend?
I mentioned already. Vancouver versus LAFC. Big match in the Western Conference. Miller versus Sun and Bwanga. I think, like I said earlier, that'll go a long way in deciding what the Western Conference makeup looks like. A really tight race in the match in the Western Conference. MLS after dark, so never know what can happen in the shadows with the night in the Major League Soccer.
It's like a good bedtime story.
Yeah, yeah. That's 7:30. Yeah. What am I saying? That's not MLS after dark. 7:30.
I think for me, I'm going to go with the 10:30 one, which is Portland and Seattle.
Cascadia.
Seattle. I mean, it's a Cascadia derby. One speaks for itself. Seattle, we've talked about. They've struggled. They need to win this game, or they're going to be at a historical low in terms of like run of form. They have beat Seattle recently, which we discussed.
So.
Yeah. They then drew FC Dallas on the 22nd, and then they just beat RSL. So kind of having that post, I don't want to say new coach bump yet, but that post coach getting fired bump anyway, post World Cup bump. And they're having the other version of this match that just happened not that long ago. So I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be spicy. As a neutral, it'll be entertaining. Last time these two met, not long ago, he had 6 goals. So
yeah,
I'm here for it.
Well, 5 of them for Portland, though.
Yeah. So that is all for this MLS Monday. Make sure you guys, if you are not already part of our Patreon, jump into the Patreon, patreon.com/scarves and spikes. They get you a bunch of extra content. It gets you into our Discord where we're constantly talking about stuff. We have some surprises coming as well. And that is in the near future. But it gets you in the Discord. Lots of chats going on. Extra Atlanta United content, extra MLS content. Sydney, you will be at the All-Star game and the Challenge very soon.
Yeah.
So
looking forward to that.
Yeah, you'll get Sydney's takes and everything from Charlotte. Scarvesandspikes.com. We have a newsletter going out pretty much every day. Sign up for that. That is totally free. And you'll have all your Atlanta United content. We put MLS stuff up on there as well. U.S. Soccer is here in the state of Georgia. This is the headquarters now, so we have lots of U.S. Soccer content as well. So check out scarvesandspikes.com and then follow us on social media.
Tyler, where are you on social media?
I am at ATL Pilgrim. Where are you at, Sydney?
I'm at SH Rice on X, SH Rice on Blue Sky, Soccer, Instagram, and Threads, Scarves, the letter N Spikes on X, ScarvesAndDspikes.com on Blue Sky, ScarvesAndDspikes on Instagram and Threads. Thanks, everybody, for joining us, and we will catch you next time. Take care.
We will talk to y'all very soon. We're at extra time.
What do you got?
I was going through, I was looking at the standings. I gave my match to watch, and I knew this, but I was like, I'm kind of shocked at just how bad Portland Timbers were before the break.
Yeah.
It was like really bad. Like their biggest win by far was May 9th. They beat SKC 6-0. But it was so hit or miss. It was literally loss, win, draw. So before that, they've had zero consistency.
That's not saying much, though. It's going to Kansas City.
That is true. But I don't know, man. I'm the more I think about it, the more I'm really excited about this game.
Who do you think wins? I think our music is like going crazy, by the way, in the background.
What?
Music is going crazy in the background.
I didn't do anything.
Well, no, it's like pauses for a second and then it goes again.
That's a new remix.
Yeah.
All right. Extra time's over. We appreciate it, y'all.